loaded into, I gotcha.
Good evening. It is 6 o'clock, and this is July the 27th. We're getting closer to Christmas. Can you believe it?
Wow. We're on the other side of it, aren't we?
We are on the other side. So we thank you for being here. This is a workshop, and it is a workshop regarding our budget. A couple things I'll say is typically at this point, we have had our financial subcommittee to have met more than once, I believe.
No.
But
Once.
you've met once.
Once.
But they've been on vacation. Everyone went on vacation about the same time, so they were unable to meet again. So tonight, typically they'll bring to the council information that we can then utilize, but
It was a long meeting.
it was.
It was.
Did you come up with,
And there's more to come.
and there's more to come. So the second piece of news is that we have just recently received the numbers, the quote, numbers,
Certified numbers.
what?
Certified numbers.
Certified numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is going to open up robust discussion, so be prepared for this. And after this workshop, the subcommittee will meet and come back to the council with additional direction. And there is no action. And this is the evening for April, our prestigious finance lady. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, y'all ready for her? Everybody ready? Okay, thank you. Thank you for everyone being here, too.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight, I'm pleased to present the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget and capital improvement program for the town of Trophy Club. This budget reflects our continued commitment to providing exceptional municipal services while marketing strategic investments in our infrastructure, parks, public safety, and employees. Although the proposed budget is substantially complete, there are still a few key items that remain to be finalized, including the final proposed tax rate, health insurance renewal rates, and refinement to the capital improvement program. We've also received requests from the Trophy Club Municipal Utility District that leads us to believe that they may want to lower the fire budget. So those are all things that are going to affect this document as we move forward. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Mayor Pro Tem Rowe and Council Members Flynn and Simmons for serving on the Budget Subcommittee. Your thoughtful feedback, questions, and collaboration throughout this process have been instrumental in refining the proposed budget before you tonight. Once the remaining budget components are finalized over the next week or two, the Budget Subcommittee will reconvene to review the final tax rate calculations and any resulting updates to the proposed budget before those items are presented to the full town council for formal consideration. We'll begin with taxable values, although they've changed. At the time the agenda was posted, this is what they look like. About 15 minutes before we came in here, we received our certified numbers, and those numbers have actually decreased and are slightly lower than last year's certified values. So you know what that does to our tax rate. It increases it. So the town continues to offer the greater of a 1% or $5,000 homestead exemption. More than 4,000 households currently benefit from exemptions, providing meaningful tax relief to our residents. A major factor in determining today's tax rate is Senate Bill 2, adopted by the legislature in 2019. The legislation limits annual growth in the maintenance and operations portion of the tax rate to 3.5% without voter approval. This example demonstrates how Senate Bill 2 significantly limits the town's flexibility in setting the M&O tax rate. Under previous law, the allowable rate would have been nearly 1.5 cents higher than what is permitted today. Property taxes consist of two components. The first component is the maintenance and operations, or M&O rate. This rate funds the day-to-day services residents rely on every day: public safety, parks, streets, utilities, and personnel. The second component is the interest and sinking, or INS rate. This is also known as the debt rate. It is dedicated exclusively to repaying debt associated with major capital investments such as streets, facilities, and infrastructure. As part of council's As part of council's adopted debt financing and tax rate goal plan, staff continues to recommend maintaining a stable INS rate of approximately 10.5 cents. Doing so allows the town to responsibly finance infrastructure improvements while providing long-term predictability for both taxpayers and future capital planning. For fiscal year 2027, the estimated voter approval tax rate at the time the agenda was posted was 0.414120 per 100 of taxable value, consisting of an M&O rate of 0.311020 and an INS rate of 0.103100. Since then, as I mentioned before, the updated appraisal information has increased the projected voter approval tax rate to more than 1 cent above what it is today.
And what would that rate be just on that 1 cent?
For
What was the exact number?
So you got 414120, right? If you had to,
Correct. We will get you those numbers.
Okay.
We don't have them all sitting right in front of us right now.
Okay.
We will get you updated numbers on it. But we still need to do some refinement around those, make sure that everything looks correct. But the initial numbers are more than a penny higher than it. In fact, it's almost nearing 2 pennies.
But can I just bring up that this is the proposed tax rate, that is what your budget is going to be, or is that the voter approval rate?
This is the voter approval rate.
This is the voter approval.
Well, it was until about 15 minutes
No,
before
I
we came in
understand, but
here.
this is the voter approval rate,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the bureaucratic, what you can or can't do.
Absolutely.
The budget itself, which you present, is a separate issue. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Yeah, it's always a lot easier when your voter approval rate is at or below your current tax rate. It's always a little bit more complicated when that number is higher than your current tax rate, which is where we find ourselves today.
So staff will review these updated figures with the Budget Subcommittee as additional information becomes available, and we will evaluate options to keep the tax rate as flat as practical before presenting a final recommendation to the town council. So this is going to change. It's still changing, so.
Well, I think it's wonderful that we get this information now. We're in a workshop, we can talk about it.
Yes.
This is perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Because then the subcommittee can go back and work hard.
You're right. We certainly
are
can.
you suggesting we haven't worked hard heretofore?
Well, not yet.
Or maybe we should say we could. No, I'm just kidding.
You were on
Playing.
vacation. Anyway, this is really great timing.
So here is a look at the comparison of the proposed fiscal year 2027 property tax rate and the current fiscal year 2026 adopted tax rate. The proposed rate reflects an increase of approximately 1/10 cent. And as I keep saying, it's changed. So this is kind of irrelevant right now, but it's here. So, and as that looked, for the average Trophy Club home, that proposal increased the town's portion of the property tax bill by approximately $9.23 per year, or less than $1 per month.
Go back to that slide for a minute. I hope those who are watching, do you see the average taxable home value? Everybody looking at that? $734,511. That is big. Sorry, I just had to point that
I don't know
out.
if this is the right time, but go back one slide.
Sure.
All right, that .001256 in dollars, if I'm correct, is somewhere in the $35,000 range.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's not a funeral type number.
Correct.
If it had been at that number,
No, I understand, but it's
Right.
going to change.
If
It's
that
going to
was
change.
that.
based
We
on
would
that.
have corrected that.
Yeah,
when
okay.
you're at a factor of about 10 on that one, then it becomes kind of real money at that point.
Okay, but right now, for this, we're only talking a few dollars. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The slight increase in the proposed tax rate will result in an estimated increase of approximately $344,000 in total tax levy, providing the necessary revenue to sustain high-quality public services. Here is the proposed debt schedule showing potential debt issues through 2040 and reflecting the plan to fund future capital needs while maintaining the INS tax rate at around 10.5 cents. This is a little hard to read, I apologize for that, but you will notice the town is scheduled to go out for a new bond issue this year for an estimated amount of $5.5 million.
And again, the purpose of that slide is not necessarily to read every little number on it, but more to demonstrate the fact that the town has a long-term capital financing plan with debt financing, right, the INS rate supporting that program to be able to maintain our infrastructure over time for it. As we've currently laid out that plan, that's what the funding for this demonstrates, right, that it's all part of that 10.5 cent cap that we put on the INS rate to be able to maintain all of our infrastructure with that debt.
Thank you.
This slide provides a 10-year history of the town's property tax rate. Over the past decade, the town has remained committed to responsible financial management by maintaining a stable tax rate while continuing to fund essential services, infrastructure improvements, and public safety. Here's a high-level summary of the town's proposed budget as it looks today, showing total revenues and expenditures across all funds. It offers a comprehensive view of the town's overall financial plan and how resources are allocated to support municipal operations, capital investments, and special purpose funds. We'll now look at key changes between fiscal year 2026 and fiscal year 2027 in both revenues and expenses. These shifts reflect rising operational costs and our commitment to service delivery. Revenue growth remains conservative. Property tax and sales tax continue to provide the majority of revenue growth, while permit revenue declines as the Byron Nelson High School stadium construction concludes and the town approaches build-out.
Yeah.
On the expenditure side,
May I
Oh,
ask one
sure.
question on that?
Absolutely.
This is kind of insignificant, but not really. You remember the alcohol permits that the state was taking from us? Is that reflected in here? And how much, what was it, 5,000? It
Like
wasn't a lot.
4,000, I thought.
What?
It was a couple thousand, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't much,
it should be that
but
sales tax number.
it's reflected in there too.
Yes, ma'am.
Does it come under fees or does it come under
It should be in that
permit?
sales tax number.
Okay. I was going through that and I thought about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
On the expenditure side, personnel remains the town's largest investment, reflecting our commitment to attracting and retaining high-quality employees. Services and supplies increase modestly, primarily due to operating costs associated with the new Parks and Recreation facility. The town continues to adhere to the financial reserve policy adopted by council in April 2024, which establishes a target unassigned general fund balance of 45%, with an acceptable operating range of 30 to 50% of annual general fund expenditures.
So April, I'm obligated to ask the question every single year.
Yes, sir.
If, and I know everything's going to change, if we were to use that proposed tax rate, where would that leave our general fund percentage? I know the goal is 45,
Yes, sir.
30 to 50 is the window.
Yes, sir.
Had we adopted that, where would that have put the, do you have a,
We anticipate that being slightly over 50%.
okay, based on those numbers?
Yes, sir.
Got it,
So
thank
if
you.
we didn't do anything, just left it flat, didn't raise it at all, so we would still be well within that window.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, so did I hear, repeat that again, because I'm on page 54, where you have your general fund ending balance at 8-point-something million.
Yes, sir.
All right, and that's going to be what percent?
About 53, I believe.
Approximately 53%.
Yes, sir.
All right, and that's slightly over goal. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Maintaining healthy reserves remains one of the town's highest financial priorities. Even after funding significant one-time investments, projected general fund reserves remain slightly above council's policy target. Preserving the town's strong financial position and flexibility for future needs. This slide provides an 11-year history of general fund revenues broken down by major revenue source. The town has experienced steady incremental growth across its primary revenue streams with no significant fluctuations. The trends shown here reflect the town's historical revenue performance and provide a solid foundation for our conservative revenue projections. This image shows you the breakdown of personnel with public safety compared to all other departments. As you can see, the largest portion of town personnel continues to be concentrated in our public safety departments. This slide provides a 5-year history of general fund personnel costs across all departments. Personnel represents the town's largest operating expense and reflects our continued investment in maintaining competitive compensation, appropriate staffing levels, and high-quality services for the community. Here we see the town's overtime history by department over the past 3 fiscal years, alongside the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget. You'll notice that the proposed overtime budget is slightly lower than the current year. That's largely the result of the police department being fully staffed and our plan to utilize part-time fire and EMS personnel to provide 6th man coverage, which reduces the need for overtime when filling vacant shifts.
Is that going to happen, or that may not happen? And if it does, if it doesn't, then how does that affect us?
Yeah, so I don't know that I have necessarily a clear answer on that one right now. The MUD board has indicated that they would like to see a proposal that decreases the fire department's budget by eliminating that 6th part-time person on staff. So we'd be back at the minimum staffing level of 5, being the same as our staffing level of 5, right?
Right.
And when that happens, it drives up overtime costs, and you're having to call people in at last minute to fill positions.
So this does, so actually this overtime budget number of 220,000 for the fire department would go up.
would go up, right?
Up,
Yes, exactly.
so-
Now, the part-time line would go down,
Right.
right, and would compensate, more than compensate for that increase as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you.
April, could you go back one slide?
Yes, sir.
Just a suggestion,
Sure.
next time we look at this, if you look at the graph is not really a good depiction visually of the increase,
Yes, sir.
because if you look at the far left-hand number, 8.8 million, going up to 12, it visually looks like it's almost tripled, the bar.
Oh, because you're not throwing.
I mean, if you just look at the bar and don't
Yeah.
pay attention to the numbers, you say, holy moly, it's tripled or more.
Right.
That's, so just a thought when you look at
That's
it.
the
Yes,
oldest
sir.
trick in the book, man.
Huh?
Change the scale.
For those visual learners.
Okay, this chart provides a historical view of general fund expenditures over the past several years, broken down between personnel costs and services and supplies. As you can see, personnel continues to represent the town's largest operating expense, while services and supplies have remained relatively stable over time. This slide presents a 5-year history of the Crime Control and Prevention District Fund. The fund is supported by a dedicated quarter-cent sales tax and provides funding for community policing, crime prevention programs, and other public safety initiatives. As shown, expenditures in fiscal year 2026 and fiscal year 2027 exceed projected revenues. This is an intentional financial strategy designed to utilize a portion of the accumulated unassigned fund balance to support current public safety priorities while bringing reserves to a more appropriate level.
But this would still leave 53% in that other page by using your funds.
It would.
to do that, you still have 53% over that in that other
In
page.
general fund,
Got it.
yes, sir.
Yeah, it does have a significant amount of balance right now. When you look at the, the revenues in any year, right, you're at $440,000, and I believe the reserve level is more than $300,000 right
Yes,
now.
sir.
And so it does have a significant amount
Yeah.
of compared to its annual amount of revenue.
This slide provides the same 5-year historical view for Trophy Club Park. The most significant change is the increase in revenues during fiscal year 2023, which is driven by additional revenue-generating events, including the hiking challenge and torn racing events. Aside from that, the fund has remained relatively stable over the 5-year period. This slide presents a 5-year history of the street maintenance sales tax fund, which is supported by a quarter-cent sales tax and used exclusively for eligible street maintenance and rehabilitation projects. Fiscal year 2025 expenditures were lower due to personnel savings and the temporary deferral of several projects, while the street superintendent was on military leave for approximately 6 months of that year. This slide shows the 5-year history of the Storm Drainage Utility Fund. This fund is supported by the monthly storm drainage fees charged to residential and commercial properties. You'll notice an increase in expenditures in the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget, which is attributable to the $350,000 Wilshire Drainage Improvement Project. This slide presents a 5-year history of the Economic Development Corporation Fund, which is supported by a dedicated half-cent sales tax. While revenues appear to fluctuate over the 5-year period, the variation is primarily due to conservative revenue estimates included in the fiscal year 2026 and fiscal year 2027 budgets, and historically, actual sales tax collections have consistently outperformed our budget projections. This slide presents a 5-year history of the Hotel Occupancy Tax Fund, which is funded through the town's 7% local hotel occupancy tax on hotel, motel, and short-term rental stays of less than 30 days. These revenues are restricted by state law and may only be used for eligible tourism-related purposes. The increase in fiscal year 2027 expenditures is due to a planned transfer to the Capital Projects Fund for the implementation of the town's wayfinding signage project. This slide provides the 5-year history of the debt service fund. The fund is supported by the INS portion of the property tax rate, which is dedicated to repaying the town's debt. The year-to-year changes reflect the scheduled debt payments associated with the town's bond issuances. The proposed budget includes several notable changes for fiscal year 2027, beginning with investments in our workforce. Staff is recommending a 3% cost of living adjustment for all employees, along with performance-based merit increases for qualifying employees. The budget also adds part-time fire and EMS staffing to provide 6th-man coverage across all 3 shifts, staffing for the new Parks and Recreation Center, and includes the outsourcing of human resources services. Organizationally, the budget repurposes 1 firefighter/paramedic position to a fire and EMS coordinator and reflects the assistant to the town manager position, which was repurposed to assistant town manager in fiscal year 2026 to improve operational efficiency and support organizational needs. On the services and supplies side, the facilities budget reflects the addition of the new Parks and Recreation facility, including funding for utilities, maintenance, and day-to-day operations to support this important new community amenity. That concludes the operating budget. Before we move into the capital improvement program, I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the proposed operating budget.
Any questions, council? Come on.
I don't have a question, just a comment. the subcommittee will meet again, and my going-in philosophy is to find a way to have a flat tax rate. I know the job just got tougher as of, now it's 18 and a half minutes earlier, April,
Yes,
but
sir.
that's my going-in thought.
Yep, I was actually going to say the same thing, Steve, is it's time for us to sharpen our pencils. We've got smart staff. We'll get a few options on the table. We'll come back to you guys. But yeah, I think it's on us to try to figure out a way to keep that rate flat. I mean,
Right now, for both of what you're just saying, we're talking M&O, right? Because we're
Yes.
getting ready to go to INS, and
Right.
INS is getting ready to go up.
right,
Didn't it? On purpose, in the long-range plan, the
Right.
30-year plan.
right, right.
So, and you're just talking about a balance, not M&O, you're talking about a balanced,
Overall.
what I pay.
Overall.
Yeah, all right. Thank
Correct,
you.
yeah, balanced overall,
Appreciate
yeah.
it.
Although obviously part of the, calculus that you make there is you have a long-term INS target. We want to continue to progress to that
No,
target.
I understand
so-
that,
But
but
yeah,
I'm just saying, when I listen to both of you,
Yeah.
my mind's on the total number, not just this
same.
Yep.
micro number. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Other questions?
Yeah, just,
Sean?
why'd the permits go down so much in terms of revenue?
So last year it went up because of the Byron Nelson High School Stadium
Oh, gotcha.
construction project.
All
And
right.
as that's finalizing, that revenue went back down.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And personnel as a percentage of the total budget, it looks like it's about 73%. Is that typical for a small town?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for small and big,
Right, any,
that doesn't really matter.
Right.
You're going to be primarily, 70 to 80% is going to be personnel costs.
And I think too, it's important to remember personnel includes the police department and the fire department. That's where the bulk of our personnel is, so.
And that's specifically referring to the operating budget. Now, obviously, when you flip to
Yeah.
capital, right, that part changes, and
Right.
capital is zero staff, and, and everything else is all kind of contracts and things like that for it. But on the maintenance and operation rate part of it, on the operating budget, that part is typically that amount.
The pie chart says police 25, fire 22, so that would not be the majority, correct?
Yeah, it's
half.
just shy of 50%, yeah.
Yeah.
Of police and fire,
That's 47%.
yeah, police and fire versus the
Other.
overall personnel cost for it, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that your question? Was the question related to specifically to police and fire versus all other
No,
staff?
the
Or-
mayor
oh, okay,
said
gotcha.
the police and fire were the majority.
No,
It's not accurate.
Oh,
no,
gotcha.
thank you very much. It's like half of the personnel, practically. I mean, that was the chart.
No other questions?
Boy, you got out of that one easily.
Well,
There's more to come, Mr. Sheridan. The proposed capital improvement program represents more than $24 million in planned infrastructure investment over the next 6 years. These projects support council's strategic priorities by maintaining existing infrastructure while investing in the future of our community. The capital improvement program is much more than a list of construction projects. It is a strategic planning document that helps the town evaluate infrastructure needs, establish priorities, identify funding sources, and schedule projects over a 6-year horizon. This long-range approach allows us to preserve existing assets while making thoughtful investments in the future of Trophy Club.
And I'll mention, we're often asked, what is funded in the plan? And the answer is we fund year one, right? So 2027 is the only year that's getting funded. Everything else becomes part of the plan of what we would approve in a future year, right? So it's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Those are all planning years. For it, we present them in this document. Our goal is to bring them forward each year as closely aligned with what the plan calls for as possible with that. But things will shift over time as they naturally do in your planning process.
Yeah, they're forecast numbers.
Correct.
Highlighted projects include roadway reconstruction, sidewalk improvements, Freedom Park redesign, Trophy Club Park design, median beautification, implementation of a town-wide wayfinding signage program, facility security improvements, zoning updates to preserve neighborhood character, and development of a comprehensive asset management program. These projects are funded through a combination of general fund resources, grants, bond proceeds, street maintenance sales tax, storm drainage utility fund, allowing us to strategically match each project with the most appropriate funding source. As we've worked through both the operating budget and the capital improvement program, our focus has remained consistent, aligning available resources with council's strategic priorities. The projects and initiatives included in this proposal are designed to enhance the quality of life, strengthen our infrastructure, and continue making public safety a top priority for our community. This summary provides a high-level overview of the town's planned capital investments over the next 6 years. The proposed capital improvement program focuses on maintaining and replacing critical infrastructure, enhancing parks and public spaces, and improving public safety facilities. Complete details for each project, including estimated costs, funding sources, and implementation schedules, are included in the proposed budget document. In closing,
You'll notice on that, by the way, go back one slide, that 2020, that we do have an off year coming soon in the streets projects, and that'll probably be good. We've done a number of street projects. It's always nice to give everyone a break for a little bit before kind of jumping back into it and kind of getting going again. But we do have programmed in there every now and then a year where we take a break on street projects for that year, and then we'll go ahead and begin that implementation the next year.
In closing, this proposed budget and capital improvement program reflects a balanced approach that maintains financial stability, preserves the high level of services our residents expect, invests in our employees, and continues implementing council's long-term vision for Trophy Club. While we are still awaiting final tax rate calculation, health insurance renewal rates, and minor refinements to the document, in addition to what I mentioned earlier, the MUD board stating that they may want some reductions to their fire budget, staff believes this budget provides a strong financial plan for fiscal year 2027. Thank you for your time this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
And the likelihood of health insurance going up is probably,
It's happening.
Along with that comment, when timing-wise, do you think we'll have health insurance numbers?
They said early this week, we hope to have
Certainly
final
by the
numbers.
time the
numbers
subcommittee
back,
meets.
yeah.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes, sir.
In your comment about the MUD agreeing or understanding about what's going on with the fire department, 6-man, you're not really changing the dollar amount. All you're doing is taking it from the 6-man permanent and throwing it in over to the overtime, right? I mean,
Correct, but it does.
it may be a couple of dollars, but
Yeah,
just
it does.
generally it's a level.
I calculated it the other day, if I remember correctly, I think it was a $30,000 reduction on their side, which would also result in a $30,000 reduction on our side, right?
Right.
If we discontinue that practice,
If you didn't do it,
if we did not do it.
Did not, okay, got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So the cost of, the added cost of having a third person on each of the 3 shifts, right?
Right.
On that is about $60,000 a year overall, right? With them paying half and the town paying half. And that's something that we actually started doing this year. So this year, we actually approved budget amendments, if you remember back in April, where we have started that 6-man staffing level. Provides a lot of great benefits to the residents, and that's why we've been implementing it for it. So we'd have to stop doing that practice in October 1 if we don't approve that part of it.
Okay. And what you're thinking is with the new certified rates, certified appraisals, the differentials, are we in the 100,000 range, or are we in greater, higher, lower?
Higher.
Higher,
Higher than 100,000?
yes, sir.
So it's not like looking at the different funds, EDC, CPD, and rearranging something along that line?
No, it's going to be a little bit more than that for it. Before we came in here, we were trying to calculate the number as best we could. so don't hold us to this number, but I believe we were around $280,000
Okay,
was where we needed to find some savings.
Right.
In that area. So so is it impossible? No.
Yeah.
Is it, we'll figure out some solutions for you, I think some good solutions.
sure, no, I
On
understand.
that part of it, but that's about the magnitude of the number we're
Right.
looking at. Yeah.
And for the subcommittee, where my mind was going was, for an example, CPD, after this expenditure, still has a fund balance of 217,000. So you could reduce the general fund police and increase, or ask the CPD to do some their games, but, they're balancing
Yeah, so moving
some
between
budgets
funds.
along
Right.
that line.
Yep, you have some options there, absolutely.
I just got a quick comment. So one thing is on slide 17, I just pulled some numbers. We flashed up that number. The average home is $734,000, which
Yes,
is
sir.
fantastic.
Sorry to lower that number at my house.
Did it?
Dennis brings the average down just a tad.
I know.
Well, you better cut that grass in the front yard, okay?
Well, it's so thick you can't.
But from a taxpayer perspective, that means like in 2014, average home here was 400. I paid roughly 1,900 taxes, now I'm paying 3,000. So we are getting increased every year because of the value of our homes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're
Yes.
only paying,
He means just the city portion.
Just the city portion,
thank
just the
you.
city
Thank you.
portion.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I'm saying is we're
Yeah,
still
you're-
averaging because of the increase in values, we're technically getting a tax increase about $92 a year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it ran, I mean, from that time until very recently, we were getting 9 to 10% taxable value increases on existing properties. Plus, the growth started to slow down around 14 or 15 and then petered out over the next couple of years. So, yeah, it's been, we've benefited a great deal from the increase, just general increase in property taxes to go along, to match the general increase in literally everything you do. Everything is more expensive than it was yesterday and continues down that path. So now's the time to sharpen pencils.
And the other phenomena with this is, we are no longer building homes.
Correct.
So this is the issue of being revenue-driven by property versus sales tax and commercial. We have to find a way to maintain the quality of life that we want, we support, and it may just mean we suck it in a little bit to get that. But that's the difference, and I think that's very important for everybody to fully understand. We now are being hit with this business of
Well, we're mature now.
impacting it. Yeah.
Quick note for you guys, Dennis brought up CCPD. It does get approved a little bit ahead of the schedule of everything else. So if there was a potential change that might have impacted, do we have any calendar concerns there?
So shifting personnel to CCPD, you can't straight do that. It has to be for special projects.
I wouldn't want to do that. What I would actually want to look at is debt service for the portion of the building, would be my first thought.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, you start to think of a couple different funds, right? CCPD, you have hot tax, you have debt service, and EDC is kind of maybe a little bit more of your flexibility funds for that part, and you kind of take a look at what options we have that would balance things between those. But your point is a good one, which is on tonight's agenda, you do have approving the CCPD budget, which needs to be done prior to the adoption of the regular budget. We'll have to look into the rules, whether or not after council approval, can we go back and amend that version before we move forward? And there are always ways to amend budgets, right? So
Yeah.
about when.
It's
and the
just when and
timeline of
how,
that
yeah.
Becomes the question mark, and I've got to figure out some details about if we can do that, if we needed to,
Yeah.
prior to the adoption of the budget or not.
Yeah, I only bring that one up since it's the more complicated because of the calendar.
Yes.
Everything else
Yeah,
kind of all
but
runs
that
the same.
one's
Yeah.
strange compared to the other ones. You're exactly right.
Well, I mean, the biggest bucket, obviously, is the general fund reserves. I mean, that's the biggest bucket, right? And right now, April, you said we're somewhere around 53% forecast.
Yes, sir.
I mean, without doing the math on the back of my hand, you can find that, probably that 300,000 in there and still be north of 50,000.
Pretty easily, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one area there that I'm always a little bit concerned about with the idea of using the entire amount for fund balance is that knowing that next year we're always gonna have this compression problem of our personnel costs going up higher than 3.5%, and then the 3.5% revenue number. So when you don't start at zero, and then you kind of like say, okay, we're just gonna, this 1 year, we're gonna do that, next year, that problem doubles, right? And so then it becomes, okay, do you wanna deal with it next year, or do you wanna deal with it in the current year? You have the option of doing whatever you want, but you have to balance those needs a little bit. And so looking for opportunities to say, okay, this is a one-time item for this 1 year, and so we might spend a little bit higher because we know that next year it's gonna come off. We'll look for opportunities like that to be able to maybe justify why it makes sense to spend in the 1 year, rather than just allowing it to carry on normal operating costs into the second year that we know we're gonna repeat.
Right, but correct, and all I was trying to do is say, look at the funds. For example, historically, we took the general fund and we transferred the money over to some general CIP projects.
Yep.
That was not a setting a precedent, that was a one-time deal.
Right.
But that would be something you might look at. Just a thought.
What's it like not having Dennis on the subcommittee?
I miss him. I like having him around. No, I'm just playing.
So you're missing Dennis.
Well, I've given my
Always.
thoughts. So.
I just like hanging out with Dennis. Just a note on what Brandon said, we are a services organization. Ultimately, this is a services organization. No matter what it is, it's a service that's being delivered. That means we're going to be personnel heavy, and that's kind of the laws of physics in the industry that we're in. So we want to be cognizant of the fact that we have to have exactly what we need there to maintain service levels and quality, and be, thoughtful about where we're going to be headed as we move out into future years, while also balancing that with the expectations that voters have that we, like Gary said, they see a higher bill every year, even if it's nominally higher, they kind of anticipate it to be a little higher every year. So they kind of expect us to keep the rate the same or less. I don't feel like I don't feel like we just have a bunch of low-hanging fruit we can just go clip. I think we're going to have to get creative and think about our priorities. And I'm excited to sharpen the pencils. We'll find a way to get it done.
On that note, obviously, the three of us have talked many times, and Dennis was on it before, but for the other council members, any thoughts for us, any guiding principles you have on your mind that we need to keep in the forefront?
I believe that Ryland just approached it for me. The personnel provides the service that this town wants, appreciates, and makes a difference. So I'm just going to ask you to be very careful when you start looking at personnel. That is our critical success factor in Trophy Club, is our personnel.
And yeah, I agree with you, and everything, appreciate what the subcommittee's doing and how they're proceeding. Once you get through this nitpicking of the numbers to get it where it's compatible with our citizens, can we put on the calendar to look at this 1 year, the appraisals went down? Is that a trend? Is that, in other words, go out a few years? You got a problem right here to work with. Work with this first, but then don't forget to look and see where we're at. We are a built-out town.
Well, and I also think that there is a lot of political pressure at the state level to take care of property taxes. People don't like them. They're unpopular. I think we all can agree there's a lot of factors that go into how all that gets juggled when it gets down to Austin every 2 years. But regardless, we should anticipate that if there's any kind of focus or change at the state level, it's not going to be coming our direction with wheelbarrows full of money, right? So just another thing to keep in mind. I know y'all think about that all the time, so.
Some of the assessment districts in the area are also only going every other year, as opposed to, our typical 9% increase that I've received for the last 6 or 7 years since I've been here. So I
Yeah.
anticipate that pressure will eventually make it to Denton County.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to respond to Steve. So similar, aligned with you in terms of what you're hoping to do. I did a little AI search today about the percentage of Texas municipalities' personnel costs, and I got a much lower number than what Brandon said to me. So it was, a smaller town would have 55 to 70, and larger towns would have, much larger numbers, so. It's AI, so I'm gonna do more research, but 73 seems to be a little high to me. And that's a number that just continues to grow through salaries and benefits and all those other things.
Cost of
so.
benefits,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Health
where it's
insurance, yeah,
growing,
the whole
not in
thing.
not in person, but in cost of the people.
Right.
When you,
Yeah.
I like what you're doing, and I like digging in like that. Not just percentages, look at the roster of our town employees. Then the other question is to see if, and correct me if I'm wrong financially in Gadsby and all your other fancy language, a lot of small towns contract out. And contracts are not considered personnel. So therefore, whether it be maintenance or, I'm just saying, consider that if you found some comparisons. We took a long time to figure out our 15 towns that we want to compare ourselves to because of stuff like that. Maybe, you think they're equal to us, but they have a different way of operating business. So just consider.
And again, you need to take a look
I
at
will.
kind of what cities put in their operating budgets, right? Sometimes cities don't have capital lines at all. They're just putting all their capital stuff in their operating lines. So you kind of have to just kind of.
No, I understand, but learning from you guys in the last several years, that's one of the questions I have, and what I look at. But
Actually, I'll have some copies. I already told Brandon ahead of this time. I actually crunched some of the numbers from 21 to current day to talk about some of those increases, so we could start looking at these and reviewing these. Told Brandon I was going to share these with him to look at. Just taking a look at where our most increases were in the past 5 years. Because I think one of the things we need to do going forward, I'm with the mayor on, we have some great personnel that take care of this town, right? But if we can find process improvements, I work in manufacturing. Every year we try to find a way to make it cheaper, better, because that's what the consumer wants, right? So if we can find improvements in our services to make them more cost-effective, I think that's another approach we need to take. But if anybody else wants copies, I'll get copies this too.
when you think of the personnel, if you're going to go back in history, which I also like, okay? I'm going to say 4 years ago, we had a tremendous jump in salaries, in personnel costs, big time. But that's also the year we lost a couple of our policemen to neighboring towns, over $20,000. So that's where we went to that 15 competitive and created a personnel policy, which, please, if you got recommendations on the personnel policy, because that's your profession, let's hear it. Not tonight, but.
No, the policy's fine.
Yeah,
It's
but we
the
created that.
application of the policy, right?
Right.
Well,
Okay.
the-
So that's what I'm
But I'm
starting
just
to
trying to
dig
say
into.
is but when you look at the percentage of jumps, you're going to see it's not equal because of some specific incidences that we created that 1 year.
The other factor too, Dennis, if I'm right, going back, we looked at where all the employees were versus midpoint, and we were, much lower to midpoint in a lot of areas. And so we've adjusted that in the last couple of years, which has caused that.
No, understand. And that's not to say you have to continue it forever, but you look at it again, but that's how we got to it. In your percentages, you will not see a straight line. Okay.
Right.
Other comments?
We're
Anybody?
going to talk about bonds?
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes. What else do you want to do with this time? Anybody? Comment?
Well, Dennis, we go into bonds now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Well, I will say something regarding the personnel, because I think that Brandon has already started looking at alternatives for personnel with the introduction of outsourcing some of our human resources. So where it is appropriate, it can be done. And Brandon has already taken action on that, and immediately it saved an enormous amount of money that we can allocate to other needs. So,
And that's reflected in this number.
yeah,
It is, yeah.
yeah, right. So, anyway, other comments, questions? Then we need a break, and it's 6:49, so I adjourn.
Thank you, April.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
council.
Good job, April.
Thanks, April.
Thank you, April. Having to
Evening, it is 7 o'clock, and this is Monday, July the 27th, and we want to welcome you to the Trophy Club Town Council meeting, whether you're in present and or if you are online. And I know that our online views are they're growing. So we really appreciate you coming back in and listening to what's going on in the town, because this is a great time to know what's happening as we're entering our budget season, and you want to stay tuned to what is happening. So we again appreciate you dropping in, and we do have a quorum. Everyone is here, and if you would please stand for the invocation by Bill. Bill, I'm sorry. I do know you, Bill.
Let us join together in prayer. Gracious and loving God, as we gather for this meeting of the Trophy Club Town Council, we pause with grateful hearts. We remember those whose courage and sacrifice have secured the freedoms that we enjoy, and we give thanks for the privilege of living in this community, a place where families, schools, businesses, churches, and neighbors work together for the common good. As we begin tonight's work, grant these council members wisdom, humility, and discernment. Help them to listen well, speak with kindness, and seek solutions that serve the flourishing of every resident. We give thanks for those who faithfully protect and serve our community each and every day. Our police officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and all first responders. Strengthen them in their service. Watch over their families and surround them with safety, courage, and peace. In a time when division can so easily overshadow understanding, remind us that we belong to one another before we disagree with one another. Teach us to honor the dignity of every person, even when our opinions differ. Protect the gift of religious freedom that allows people of every faith to live together in mutual respect. Help us never to confuse political power with the sacred work of conscience, compassion, and love of our neighbor. Make every decision made in this room reflect integrity, justice, and genuine care for this community. And remind us that every person we meet is someone worthy of dignity, respect, and compassion. Oh God, we entrust this meeting and all who serve this town into your gracious care. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. All right, do we
There was
have
nobody signed
speakers?
up to speak.
No speakers, so we're going directly to our community spotlight, and if you would like to introduce that,
Thank you.
right, Sean.
It's my sincere pleasure to introduce Dr. Maddie Parker, who is part of an awesome local business, Freeform Chiropractic in Trophy Club. And it supports a lot of our citizens. I see them as I go in there. And I'm not just a patient, I'm a fan. Dr. Maddie.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sean. And I want to talk to everyone, so I might just turn around. But I'm with Freeform Chiropractic. I'm one of the newest docs, so I've actually been in the Trophy Club area now for about a year and a half. And like I was telling Miss Mary Tiffany, I had no idea what Trophy Club was before I became a doctor at this office. And I've been blown away by the community, by the support, by all of the people that surround us. Every event that we go to, anything that we do in the city of Trophy Club, we're just shown up and we're overjoyed with all the people, all the kindness, all the love, support that we get. Trophy Club, the Freeform of Trophy Club has been here for almost 6 years now, right in the town center. And it was actually the second Freeform office that opened up. We have almost 10 now around the DFW area. So the fact that it was the second one, it's pretty cool that I get to be a part of it. There's been a couple of doctors come through it. And I mean, even back in like 2022, I believe it was, Dr. King and Dr. Jacobs, they actually declared October as like the chiropractic month of the town of Trophy Club with one of the mayors back then, so it was super cool to see that. We've got a plaque in the office. We've been part of the Rotary since they started the Freeform Trophy Club. We do as many of the events as we can. We donate to all of the first responders events, anything that we can to give back, because that's what we love. That's one of our core values, is to give back to the community. And anything that we can do to educate, empower people to live their best, healthiest, most empowered life is what we do. Freeform is built on American values. Our mission statement is to help people live free, and that's free from any limitation, free from restriction, free from a dependency on any kind of medical system, including us. We don't want anyone dependent on anything. You should be able to live your life how God intended it, and that's functioning the best from the inside out. So that's really what we focus on, connecting the community. Another way that we do that is we do like lunch and learns or health talks for different businesses. We do this totally complimentary because, again, we want to give back. We can bring breakfast or coffee or lunch and talk about health and wellness. I am a chiropractor, but we don't really talk about chiropractic in those talks. We talk about like how sitting is the new smoking. We've got to get up and move our bodies, how to be healthy in the workplace, how to stay healthy for a long period of time so that we don't all start to deteriorate like we're seeing in the world today. And then we end up with a little bit of chiropractic talk because I can't help myself. But chiropractic is more than the aches and pains. Everybody thinks about the neck pain, back pain, car accidents and stuff. Really, it's getting the interference off your nervous system, and your nervous system controls everything. So if we have interference on it, we have dysfunction way before we have pain. So we want your body to function, let your nervous system function so that all the other systems can function properly. Reproductive, digestive, cardiovascular, everything's controlled by that. So it's really about letting your body do what it's supposed to do more than just fixing the aches and pains that everyone has. So we love it here. We're super grateful to be a part of Trophy Club. So thank y'all again. Thank y'all for having me. This is super cool that I got to even come be a part of this. And I do have a few business cards just in case anyone has any questions. I'm going to just leave them at the back on the table just so you can take a picture of it. There's a QR code. You can scan it if you want a website. Anything that you need, y'all can have it back there. But again, thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mattingly.
Notice she said deteriorating, she was trying not to look at me.
She did. We all looked at you.
But when
Dan.
she said Q card, she gave it away. I do want to say thank you to your company for supporting Trophy Club because at all the events, you're present, there, and available. So we appreciate you being a partner in Trophy Club. Thank you so much. Okay, working for you. Anyone have any comments?
I do, Mayor.
Okay, go for it.
While it may not sound like it's working for you, it really is. I was just happily selected to serve on the Metroport Leadership Class of 2026 and 27. It's a year-long commitment, and the job is to represent Trophy Club and all that goes on with it. Mayor just came off that for the year. I'm not sure if we've had other council members in years past, I don't recall.
Not that I know.
But it's a great way to make sure that I'm feeding back to this group and to the community as a whole what's going on in our surrounding areas. The Metroport does so many great things. It's projects, it's building, it's highways, it's everything. And so while some of it may not directly impact us, other pieces do, so.
Good,
Yep.
thank you. You will enjoy that experience. Anybody else have a comment?
So a lot of good work going on from town employees. I see sidewalks getting resurfaced. I see trees and branches getting cut back. I see ditches getting cleaned out. So for those that are making that happen, a big thank you from our side of town.
Yeah, by the way, I walked the other day, and sometimes I will walk through my neighborhood and then get on Forest Hill at the golf course. I walked on Forest Hill, and I love the pavement. I mean, I looked at this, I thought, I want this in my front street. So, in fact, that's what's going to be at some of these new streets that are being repaired, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So, it looks great, thank you. I do have, anybody else have any comment?
I got a picture to pop up that,
Okay, good.
you know me, I love my pictures. Nope, not that, that's not me. Oh, nope, there we go.
Save that.
That's actually Dennis on the bike in the front. So, just to let everybody know, this was actually launched today by a bunch of our citizens that ride mountain bikes. So, you know, I told them I was going to give it a shout out because we do have an active community utilizing our parks. And so it's the Trophy Club Mountain Bikers. Look for it on Facebook. And you may want to add something to it since you're on those trails.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of land. that
Use your
could-
speaker.
Am I muted?
You got to get it close.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
How about now?
thanks.
All right. I can hear myself now. It's kind of scary.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a lot of folks that are heavily involved in mountain biking, and right now it's usually a trip in the back of a bike rack or in the back of a pickup truck to get to those facilities. But look forward to working with the Parks Department team and expanding out the wonderful situation we have back in Trophy Club Park.
And everybody there has a helmet on.
Yeah, they got all helmets on, and Chase, they already did the signage for you. It says TCMB.
Hey, Chase, where are you? You in that, be in the next picture? Where are you at, Chase?
I'm not in that photo. I'm actually ahead of them.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
That's good, that's good. Anyone else? Okay, well, I would like to invite my guest to the podium. Abby, will you come to the podium, please, right there at the podium? This is Abby Maggard. She's a very important person in Trophy Club. I just have to express to you, I think many people know that we're really focused on civic engagement. And it comes in many different ways. And she is representing an example of civic engagement. 3 weeks ago, at the July the 4th, she came up to me, we started visiting, and she wanted to know how you became a mayor. I said, well, so we began talking. She said, well, I'm just wanting to learn more about it, and how do I do that? I said, well, you come to council meetings. You start finding ways to get involved in the town. So lo and behold, last council meeting, she and her mom were sitting in the back, and I kept thinking, I know this lady. So Abby, welcome back, and I invited her to come back. Abby is an incoming freshman at Byron Nelson. She plays soccer. She's a double bass player. She plays the piano, and she runs cross-country. And what is it that you wanted to be since you were a child?
The president.
We got time.
So why not capture her now? And so she's going to taking the first step toward that goal by learning what it's like to be in the local government. Didn't I tell you, get involved in the local government?
Yes.
That's where you get started. And she does that by observing. She's here observing. I've introduced her to all council people, the town manager and directors. She's learning and she's experiencing it. Would you like to say anything to the council and by the way, you are on camera. You are on candid camera. So you are on camera. Would you like to say something to the?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I love seeing how you make decisions in our community and how you make it better.
Okay. Thank you so much. Would y'all like to ask her any questions? Anybody?
I'm intimidated by all those qualifications.
I have an incoming freshman, and I can tell you they don't like it when you ask them questions. So I'm good.
Ask away.
I don't have any questions, but I encourage, there's something called the Patriot Academy. It's in Texas. It's headquartered in Texas. It's online. You can check it out. And they teach young people about politics and legislation and all those things. It's really a very encouraging organization. You should check them out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that. And we appreciate you being here again, and I'll take one more picture with you. There she is up there. On the,
Being mayor has a lot to do with being a leader, not managing, a leader, and there's a difference.
stand up here? Come on. Oh, by the way, this is her mom, Jan. Why don't you come up here with us? Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. God bless you. Come back. Will you be coming back? Yes. Even though school started? Yeah. Okay. All right, we do not have a civic tip. We do not have a civic tip, but we do have a presentation by our town manager.
Yes, so updates, just a couple of things for you today. I'm going to get up closer on the microphone for this. So first of all, the Parks and Recreation Month is almost coming to a close, but we do have one more event for those who would like to participate in that. That is going to be on Wednesday, July 29th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Freedom Dog Park, where we're going to be having treats and tales as we celebrate this, the final event for Parks and Rec Month. Your dog will enjoy a tasty treat, and we'll have one for you too. There, so come on by. Wednesday, July 29th from 5 to 7 p.m. For upcoming boards and commission meetings, just a couple of them. August 12th, we have the Economic Development Corporation meeting at 6 p.m. And then on August 13th, we have the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at 6 p.m. as well. For that, we always encourage the public to come and join with us for those meetings. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Ooh, wow, that's great. Thank you. Next, please.
Consent agenda. This part of the agenda consists of non-controversial or housekeeping items required by law. Items may be removed from consent by any council member by making such request prior to motion and vote.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda items 4 through 6.
Is there a second? Gary seconds that. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Item 7, conduct a public hearing and consider the fiscal year 2027 Crime Control and Prevention District budget.
Who? Oh, the chief. Oh, you're going to sit there. You sit, correct? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, so I'm going to open the public meeting at 7:17. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Great. And good evening, Mayor and council members and town manager. And I'd also like to welcome the CCPD members that are here with us tonight. We're here to discuss the CCPD budget approval for 26-27 fiscal year. Thank you for continuing support of the Crime Control Prevention District. The CCPD has become an important investment in public safety by allowing us to fund programs, equipment, training that directly benefit our residents. More importantly, CCPD allows us to be proactive instead of reactive, preventing crime before it occurs rather than simply reacting after the fact. This year's budget continues to focus on 3 strategic priorities. First, we continue investing in equipment and technology that gives our officers the tools they need to work more effectively, improve accountability, and better protect our community. Second, we continue expanding community safety programs that build partnerships with our residents. These include programs like Vacation Watch, Citizens Police Academy, the Take Home program, our crime prevention education, and neighborhood outreach. These programs help prevent crime while strengthening our relationship between the police department and our community we serve. Third, we remain committed to training and professional development. Well-trained officers make better decisions, provide better service, and better prepared to meet the challenges facing law enforcement today. This past year, CCPD funding has provided measurable results. We conducted 2 senior safety classes, reaching over 34 residents. We've conducted 2 youth training classes, thought that was pretty good, where we trained over 50 students and their parents in internet social media safety. We've expanded the Take Home program by reviewing and updating participation information, partnering with local churches and Meals on Wheels to increase public awareness to the program. In addition, CCPD funding has allowed us to continue investing in technology and equipment that improves officers' effectiveness and enhance our public safety. These investments are helping us build a safer community while ensuring our officers have the resources they need to serve our residents. In closing, the proposed FY 26-27 CCPD budget continues to invest in proven programs that enhance public safety, strengthen community partnership, and prepare our department for the future. Simply put, CCPD funding allows us to prevent crime, educate our community, and make strategic investments before problems occur. That proactive approach has contributed to our success we've experienced and will continue to benefit our residents of Trophy Club. We appreciate your continued support and respectively request approval of the proposed FY 26-27 Crime Control Prevention District budget.
Okay.
Any,
Is there
I don't-
anybody in the
any
public that
questions?
would like to speak? Anybody from the public? No?
Any board members, thank you for being here tonight. Mayor?
So, 7:21, I'll close the public hearing, and if the council would like to ask some questions, go for it. Anybody? Yes.
Two questions. Explain overhire on the cadet.
So, in this year's budget and in last year's budget, CCPD has funded an overhire. So it's adding an additional employee to the police department outside of the general fund budget, funded strictly by the CCPD, to help us maintain a full staffing level. We do usually lose a couple officers per year. This puts a cadet in training academy for the 5 months it takes to become a police officer, outside of the general fund budget, and then trains them, and then when they come out of the academy, they roll right into the police department as a police officer, and if there's a vacancy, they fill that vacancy immediately.
And it
it's
worked
not-
well with this last go-round. That new
Absolutely.
cadet new police person.
Yep.
Yep.
Filled an open vacancy we had, and so allowed us to go out and search for a new cadet, which we have one lined up to come in September, at the end of August, to start in September to fill a pending situation, so.
Got it.
And, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I have another question, but keep going if
Okay.
you're done.
Yeah, and that, we do have in our workshop, we did talk about our percentage of the budget that we have. So the CCPD budget is closer to 70 to 80%. And this is allowing us to draw down that reserve in the CCPD fund by allocating this money to pay for that position. So,
Okay. Second, when I understand the drone has arrived,
yes, sir, it has.
it is a US-made drone,
Thank you.
all right?
Yep, completely.
How's he doing on his training, and when does council get a demo?
Yep, he actually just finished his training last week, and so.
He
yeah,
being a
one-
policeman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, officer.
Okay,
You were talking about the
Oh, it's his
drone.
son. He didn't.
The drone operator, okay, I apologize, the drone operator is a
I
policeman.
mean,
No, the drone is now sentient. It's training itself.
Yeah.
So we have
AI.
a drone, we have an operator who actually is a train-the-trainer type deal. He hasn't fully completed he has one more step to take, but he is a certified, approved operator. With one more step we want him to take, and then he'll be ready to go to train other officers to do it, so we have one on each shift. But yes, but it's probably for the next council meeting, if you like, we'll coordinate with the town manager to set up a little demo.
Yeah, I'll have some questions then, but thank you for Made in the USA, okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
Well, I think the government's pretty much mandated that now, right, for anything
Absolutely.
law
Yep,
enforcement?
That's
or-
why we took so long for that
Yeah,
process to
that
play
makes
out. We
sense.
waited to see if that would actually take effect, and it did. And once that decision was made,
Yeah.
we went ahead and made our purchase.
It's one of the good decisions our federal government has made recently.
Yep. So thank you. Yes, Mr. Ash?
Other comments?
Oh, that's it, thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing the drone.
All right, good. Is there a motion for this?
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept and approve the CCPD budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sean seconds that. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. We now go to the next, by the way, before,
Thanks, Chief.
please stay, who are board members for CCPD, we thank you for being here. We like seeing you here, like to know that you're, because we do know you're highly invested in this board. So it's good to see you. Thank you very much for being here.
And there's 2 veterans out there.
I know. I know. They're good. And they're always around the town, so you will see them around the town. patrolling for us. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, we're on to item.
Item 8, conduct a public hearing and consider the purchase of the former Premier Academy facility located at 945 Trophy Club Drive.
And this is Chase. Good
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. And
evening. 7:25, we will open for a public hearing.
yes, so just highlighting some of the things that we had in the last council meeting, just getting information out there about the recreation facility and the offerings that that's going to have for our community. And so we'll just quickly re-highlight, how this ties back into the town's overall strategic plan. And then also how it's supported by our Parks and Rec Master Plan. And just as you guys completed the retreat and talked about, our strategic initiatives going forward, that's what I think is so great about the planning, is that we're able to see things happening right now that we planned for a couple of years ago and start planning for things to get lined up for the next couple of years. And so one of those things is, how is that going to affect our community? And our goal is, as we surveyed the community, was what do you want to see out of the Parks and Rec Department in supporting you in the facet of quality of life? And one of those things was expanding our recreation programming, increasing our indoor recreation opportunities. I just got back from a trip from Washington. It was a cool 55 to 68 degrees the
Thank
whole
you.
time we were there.
I was
And it
there
was
too.
very
Yeah, I
hard
can
for
confirm
us
he's not lying, yeah.
to come back and step off the plane with 106 degrees as we got out of the plane. And so really thinking about those, we love our summer and we enjoy those opportunities, but some of these activities of, exercise classes and basketball and, things that we can do indoors, being able to have something that we can do during the day during summer and activities, and also having a space, for our summer campers that, is equitable for their activities and space for them to enjoy. And so, but then also creating flexible spaces. That was a big thing that came out of the surveys was, how can we have rooms that we can hurry and flip over, that we can have HOA meetings and then an hour later have a birthday party in. And just making rooms very flexible so that we can have spaces adaptable for all ages. And so the proposed facility represents just that step towards implementing a thoughtful long-term strategy for the Parks and Rec and for the town. So as we're looking at these, we talked about the community programming, but also long-term quality of life for our citizens. As we talk about, the building and looking at that, it's like, looking at our community. And then also looking at what finances we have available and being smart about using our available resources and looking at a building like this and the square footage of what it would cost, if we built from scratch. Obviously, what we're looking at with this facility, with its location within the community, it's about as smack dab in the middle of town as you can get. But then also having not only space for activities to go on, but support facilities, restrooms, existing furnishings and equipment. Where it was old daycare, some of the activities and toys and things that are in there are things that we can also implement into our current programming. And so there's approximately 8,650 square feet of usable space between the two classrooms and the gym. Again, just a reminder of where this is. This is off just Trophy Club Drive, right by the roundabout by Tom Thumb. And back in that area, we'll talk about the license agreement, but we're talking about getting things in place that not only will we have use of the indoor space and ownership of that, but also use of the adjacent playground area that as we go into fall and spring and different breaks that kids are off, that we can have, you know, activities going on inside as well as outside, as long as weather permits. And one thing that we want to talk about is also expanding those opportunities for all ages. That, you know, I like to say that we program for 4 to 94 or 104. I haven't researched who our oldest citizen is, and so maybe I'll go 104 on there. But we program for all ages, and so looking at, you know, what we can do we've had a group that reached out since the last public hearing about fitness classes for moms, and having a space that they can come in and bring their toddlers while their older kids are at school. And those, we're loving the talks that we're having with individuals saying, hey, you know, now that there's a bigger space, I'd like to see something like this. And it's almost like Christmas for us, because we're like, yes, let's have these conversations and let's find a way to adapt that into the community so that we can program for all of our citizens. But also not just talking about recreation. Everyone thinks, you know, Parks and Rec is about, you know, the basketballs, the soccer balls, but we do programming for arts and STEM and specialty programming. We do, of course, the indoor sports gym activities, but we're also, one of the best things that we do and that we love doing are special events and putting on events. We're just finishing up Parks and Rec month for the month of July. And we implemented these month-long programs last year just to show that, you know, those that, you know, 4th of July and a day-long event isn't necessarily for everyone. There's individuals that like coming to, like this weekend, we had the birdhouse painting. We had about 10 to 12 individuals show up for that. And in a smaller group, being out in nature, those are, and so that, we've got to look at all facets of what types of programming we're offering. But then also not just the programming we're having, but also create opportunities for rental opportunities for residents and organizations, because I've seen some parents put on some pretty amazing birthday parties and they're event planners within themselves, but a lot of times they just need a space to be able to do that. And this will help provide one of those spaces for us to be able to do that. So again, you know, as we talk about our summer camp programming, this is an important aspect of our rec budget and what we do. Currently, we service 60 kids a week for 10 weeks. And this ability of having the 2 classrooms and the gym and being able to use the outdoor playground potentially allows us to service up to 100 children in there, because we have the extra restroom support facilities to be able to accommodate that. Now with that, I just put this as a caveat, is, you know, we can always have more kids into the program, but we are also limited by our budget and also about our staffing levels, because with our standards of care, we have so many children per staff, what we can accommodate. And so those are all things, that's why we start hiring in January before we open registration, so that when we open registration, we know that we have those staffing levels met to be able to support those. But this facility would allow us, you know, up to potentially 100 children versus the 60 a week. Also, we gave a breakdown of just, you know, where we rank within the surrounding communities as far as programs, because there's been back and forth about, you know, how many kids are actually in summer camp. And this is, when we talk about this, summer camp is an experience. If you talk to any of the parents that have had their kids start summer camp, it's not just coming and being a spot for their kids to be for the day so the parents can go to work. The kids are going, you know, swimming, they're going on field trips multiple times a week and having new experiences and building relationships with those classmates that they see when they go back to school. A lot of the conversations that those kids have is, hey, remember when we went to the Pearl Museum, or we went to North Richland Hills Aquatic Center? And they've already built those bonds and those friendships. And so that's what we look to create with these programs. And so this is just an overview that we fit kind of right in the middle and where we need to be as far as camps within the local municipalities. So as we talk about the financial strategy, is, you know, we have about 2.2 million of existing capital funding that look to purchase the building and make renovations prior to opening to the public. The purchase price agreed on was 1.8 million. Estimated closing costs about 25,000, and that's drawing closer, and so we can have more refined numbers there. But as we look at the property improvements, because there are things that we're gonna have to do once we close to, you know, replace some of the flooring, painting, put in some barriers, and update some of the things that came out in our inspection report, about 275,000, and that includes a little contingency in there. We are looking roughly about 4 or 5 months to be able to get that all done. It's gonna be a busy timeline, but our staff, after last council meeting, has already started lining up contacts for contractors that once we close, we can get them right in, start giving us quotes, and start moving this along so that we can be prepared to have an opening sometime towards the Q2, January to March, of being able to have, you know, a big kickoff. What we'd like to see is potentially when the kids are out for spring break, having a big programming, as well as a full program that we'll release to the community of how they can register for those activities and going forward. As far as staffing, what we're looking at this is in order to be able to flip those rooms and be able to support the rentals and all those activities that we go in, we're looking at 1 full-time staff and 4 to 5 part-time staff members that mainly during the day the full-time staff member will be doing the programming, scheduling the rentals, everything in there. And then some of those part-time staff members will help assist us in the evenings as we have activities going on, HOA meetings, different types of rentals that will be in there. They'll be the ones to help flip the rooms, greet the customers, but then also lock up and close after. So our, again, looking at our annual operating revenue, right now is about 37,500. We know that that's just based off of, you know, past meetings that we've done. But obviously, we didn't have an indoor space with a gym. We expect those after that first year to have a really good idea of what that revenue will be. And we'll come to you later as far as fees and everything in there so that we can be able to have those planned and then get those into the schedule so the citizens can know what they can rent the individual spaces for. A couple of updates as far as the due diligence items. These have changed, just getting closer to closing. Again, HVAC Unit 1, that's not operational. That's the first classroom right as you come in the building. Once we close, we have a couple of companies to get repair quotes that, you know, worst case scenario, it's getting a new HVAC unit in that area or being able to do repairs. We'll be able to assess that once we have ownership. The foundation inspection came back as well as looking at the full structural engineering. And FWNNA came back and said that they're a certified letter, that they're all in good condition, and so no concerns there. The leak inspection is still in progress. We believe that's also possibly tied to that HVAC unit, as it looks around the drainage area, but that's still in progress, so we'll have updates there. The finalized appraisal came in at 1.8 million, 15,000. And the updates is the survey has been updated and completed. And Brandon let me know that the title objections have been submitted for that. And so we'll update you once we receive information on there. As well as the outdoor playground license agreement with the sellers. That's still currently under review. We're just having conversations about the different options. You know, with the existing building across the parking lot, you know, depending on who the future buyers are, making sure that we can have different options of, if a buyer gets that, being able to still utilize that playground, or options of, you know, just being able to have access to that. So that's still currently under review, and we'll have more updates for you as we get a couple of options back from them. Again, we just want to highlight there are multiple ways on the website that you can be able to view updates and information on this. Under the town managers page, you can also ask Indy right there on there, and it'll put you up there, and it's right on the banner if you look there. But if you follow any of our social medias, they are also pinned on some of those posts that you can be able to get there. So our goal was to make sure that that information is easily accessible, and then also easily readable, and easy to digest. So I'll take questions at this time.
Not, any questions from the audience? We're going, okay. 7:41, close the public meeting. Anybody?
Yeah, I have a quick question, Chase. On the playground, if their other building is sold to an office and they don't want anything to do with that, what's our intention? And should you build into the license agreement that we might get a right of first refusal?
That's what we're essentially doing.
Yeah.
something
Cool.
very similar to
Yep.
Other questions?
At least
No,
that's the intent right now. Nothing's
Yeah.
drafted up.
Based on your timeline, you said it looks like, you know, the January to March timeframe, probably closer to the end of
Yep.
March, yeah. You mentioned birthday parties?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a possibility. So as a community service, just keep this in the back of your mind, March 27th, well, might be a good, you know, birthday
Is
as
that
a
your
pilot
birthday?
program.
Are
Just throwing that
is it
out
your
there.
this guy.
birthday? Is
Yeah.
that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and say it's my birthday on the 27th.
Felt like if you just wanted a dry run for the
Yeah,
operation.
a dry run,
you
you know,
know.
just get the
Well,
bugs
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Look, it's a
Well-
centennial, okay?
Well, and
I have no problem with that as long as he pays the right fee.
and we will, once we have those fees established, we can have conversations.
Okay, before, however, we close this, I do have something that I would like to share with the council as well as those who may be listening. I want to speak to a question related to this recreation facility, and the question that many of us may get is, where does this leave the Active Adults Center? I get it. I've seen it online, so I want to address that in three kind of quick ways to do it. 2 action items as well as an outcome. So the first action was the town began negotiating a 99-year lease with the municipal utility district for the MUD Annex building, consistent with the master park plan recommendation. And in that park plan, it says, to transform the existing facility into a flexible, multi-generational hub with adaptable indoor space and an outdoor program for year-round activities and community events. The town set aside $2 million to redesign that space as a recreation facility for all of Trophy Club. Months passed without the MUD action to move the plan forward. And at the April meeting, myself, Brandon, as well as Sean Nelson were attending, at which time they pushed any discussion of the annex building off until June 2026, further delaying the town's planning efforts for a facility. For the past 2 years, the building has served as a recreation center for the day camps as well as for the Active Adults Center. The second action that has taken place is the delay created an opportunity for the town to explore and negotiate the purchase of this recreation facility, the former Academy gym building, within 6 weeks. the town was positioned to announce the intent to purchase the building. The building has almost twice the footprint, as we heard Chase say, of the MUD Annex, and the town would have invested $2 million in a piece of property that we did not own. Although the recreation programming has not been finalized, as he was talking, it will serve active adults as well as residents of all ages. So the outcome of these two actions is this. Today, the Active Adult Center administrators are working with the MUD directors and MUD manager to determine how the MUD will fund and support the ongoing operational needs of the Active Adult Center located in the MUD Annex building. The Active Adult Center has highlighted the community's interest and need for adult activities in Trophy Club. The Town Parks and Recreation Department will expand that programming, as you've just heard Chase speak about, that supports these activities. So together with the adult, we look forward to the future of the adult activities in Trophy Club, in the programming and the recreation facility. And hopefully this may answer a few questions that I certainly received. What about the Adult Activity Center? Those are two things, and the outcome is they're negotiating with the MUD, who will be funding that activity center. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that as soon as we decided to do what we were going to do, yourself and Brandon met with these people first because you recognized the potential complexities.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other comment? Okay, thank you.
And I'll just add on that, you know, having partnerships within communities, just what we currently do with our rec programming, we look at what businesses are offering as well as our partners are offering, and we don't want to be in competition with those. And so as the mayor had spoke about enhancing those programs, a lot of our active adult programming will be come in, we have an individual that has reached out to us about doing chair yoga and sound bath sessions in there that they can sign up for a class, come for an hour, and then if they have questions, and this is something that I've spoke with the active adult group on, that if they want to expand and have a place to, socialize and spend more time with active adults of 55 and over, that there'll be that opportunity with them. And so what we really look at is that this is going to enhance the overall offerings for the community and specifically for that active adult population.
Any other comments? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Comment, anything, Brandon, you want to say about?
Yeah, just as it was the last meeting when we talked about this one, there is no action required by the council in order to continue to move forward with this purchase. Our last day of our due diligence period is on July 29th, so it's this Wednesday. Once that time passes, if we pull out, we just lose the earnest money in that part of it. However, obviously, the council has remained very committed to this purchase as we've moved through. All the due diligence items that we've needed to complete have been completed with it. The one item that's kind of standing out there a little bit is the license agreement and getting that finalized. However, I had a good phone call with them today about trying to make sure that we get a copy of that relatively short order here so that we can make sure that we're both on the same page about that license agreement.
Yeah, and I want to say too, I really appreciate the amount of discussion, comments, whether it's on Facebook, again, whether it's at Breakfast with Tiffany's or when y'all are, any of us wandering around the town, the comments regarding the purchase of this program, the opportunities it's presenting to the town, as well as feedback saying we want to do this, this, and this. So I want to say thank you to the town for being engaged in this project, this process along the line. We appreciate it, and we look forward to you being more engaged as we continue going down the road, and we're all kind of feeling our way around a little bit, but we have a leader, and so we appreciate you, Chase, for leading us through this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chase.
Okay. We are now going into
Executive
10.
session. Pursuant to Government Code, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, the town council will recess into executive session to discuss the following. Section 551074, personnel matters, to deliberate the employment evaluation and/or duties of a public officer or employee, a town manager.
Okay, we will adjourn to the executive session, 7:50. We adjourn.
Love it.
No, I got one document.
See you guys Friday.
There is nothing in writing anywhere that says
Hey,
we have
hey,
to make a
Brandon.
motion